All right, let's just be real. I am still in the process of converting the clips from the last reaction that I actually did not expect to actually get this video. This is from Clownfish TV. I've been following them when it regards to gaming news, when it comes to political to news that actually makes me want to actually look at how things are politically correct and incorrect. Look, let's just be real. I'm not into the detailed politics of things entirely. All I just know is I'm just making sure that my sanity is in check. All right? Clownfish TV is just one of the creators. It is just one of the creator channels that actually it kept me grounded at the same time as made sure that their references are actually in tune with mine. Okay? If you're not the type to actually watch Clownfish TV, it's fine. But if you actually hate Disney, this might be the video for you. If you're actually the type to actually watch reactions like how I'm actually doing it right now, this is the type of video probably for you. Now, the Clownfish TV has recently published a video called YouTube Just Kicked Disney in the Nats. Disney has to be crazy to let YouTube somehow actually hurt them massively for this. I don't know exactly what I'm running into, but considering that Disney has a hold of streaming sites, has a hold of IPs, has a hold of franchises, if they're going to get less influence on YouTube because of what Disney screwed up this one up with, I am going to give sanity and good morals a very, very huge win for this. I don't know what I'm walking into. Because let's just be real, Disney destroyed Marvel, Disney also destroyed Star Wars. If this is the step in the right direction at some point that goes up against Disney, we will take every win we get. I don't know what to expect from this. Let's just go for it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about YouTube dropping Disney. They dropped ABC, ESPN, and their other networks. They didn't reach a deal. And now apparently the Disney executive suite is rallying because they're like, oh my God, guys, what are we going to do? This comes after there's been a lot of chatter about what's going on at YouTube right now, that the new CEO of YouTube seems like he's hell-bent on competing with streamers like Disney Plus and with Netflix. And he's all about Hollywood, Hollywood, Hollywood. And he's offering buyouts to a lot of the old YouTube employees.
You know,
he's offering buyouts for the old YouTube employees. Wait.
Here's what irritates me about this whole situation, is this guy has built nothing.
Look, let's just be... Okay, I'm just going to be very real with you guys. I hate it that YouTube has actually integrated themselves onto the TV atmosphere, but let's just be real. They were pro-consumer internet users first. TV producers second. It's one very of YouTube, okay? It's one very ugly chapter of YouTube that really just pushed the normal viewership away from the platform entirely, to the point that they would not come back from it. They would not come back for it. They would actually just go for traditional TV, or they would just go use the internet separately without thinking of YouTube as TV, except YouTube has evolved into something else, okay? It's also our own fault. Now, for YouTube to actually compete against giant streaming sites like Netflix and Disney Plus, however, completely different story. Now, considering that there are shows being blacked out on YouTube because Disney had ported them onto YouTube as well, considering that there is a sense of competition, that's just how business works. For some reason, this is just how business works. So basically, this is just a business move that YouTube had made. And look, YouTube has its own problems when it comes to integrating into TV. But for once, this actually hurts Disney, for once at least. Hopefully this goes a long way and YouTube stays independent and they don't accept from any other brands and they make their own brand by themselves. That would make YouTube a big thing. A big platform by itself. Hopefully not regulated, but at the same time, they're not Disney yet. Okay?
He has done nothing. He never did jack shit to make YouTube big. That was the creators, that was people that were here previous to him.
Exactly. Creators that went before him actually made YouTube what it is today. Whether they actually push the ideas of making YouTube as TV as it is right now, it's not entirely it's not entirely the fault of creators. There were executives actually cooking up that idea. Writing that idea along with what the creators' visions are for their own branding as well. Most creators, however, did not like this move. Some stayed, some left.
Build it up to what it is.
Yeah.
He comes in, makes idiotic changes, by the way. There's been a lot of changes with shorts and stuff that has actually not worked out and been really stupid. I don't know how he still has a job. And now he's going to go after Hollywood and all this stuff and act like he's Mr. Big Man and schmooze and kiss Hollywood's ass and everything else. But he did nothing to do anything. He's sacrificing everybody who did to boost himself up. They're arguing that Disney wanted too much money, which is probably true.
That's right.
Because other places said that the same thing. But the flip side of this is YouTube can't exactly beat poverty and stuff either, because they're out there chasing Hollywood and all these deals and trying to become a streaming company themselves. And here's the thing, people already have enough streamers. That's why they're all collapsing. They're watching YouTube, and the reason it's so big on television is because they're watching creators, not because they're watching streaming shows through YouTube.
Exactly. YouTube is trying hard to be like a streaming service, except YouTube is always fundamentally a completely different platform entirely, because let's just be real, okay? Maybe most of you are actually forgetting in regards to the story, YouTube is not a streaming service originally. It always has started as a creator first platform where you can actually broadcast yourself. You broadcast yourself, you tell bits about yourself, you broadcast your own content. That was always the role of YouTube itself, as a social media platform, not as a streaming service. It seems like YouTube is just trying to actually make a blend of both. To the point that, dude, it's trying too hard to be something that it is not. It is evolving into something that it is not, and it is trying too hard to try to stay relevant with that purpose in mind. They got to stick to something that works and that makes them money, instead of just turning themselves into something that warps them entirely. It's already bad enough that there's something different entirely, but they shouldn't treat themselves badly by turning themselves into something they would not even recognize themselves as anymore. Suddenly there would be a day that the YouTube studio page would be gone and people would not be able to upload themselves anymore, and there would be this new policy that actually comes up. This is no longer a creator first broadcasting site. This is now a streaming site, and all the creators will be up in arms. Every part of the internet would actually go wild, and then Google will be sued, and then YouTube would be sued, and then all of those creators would get shut down, all of those lawsuits would get dismissed, and there will be an internet dictatorship. Basically, that is what YouTube actually wants if they're still going at this direction, okay? And I hate the fact that we're getting to this point in which YouTube might be turning into a streaming service, but at the cost of full viewership trust. It is not going to help them, and if the internet clamps down on all the resistance, all when it comes to law, basically, it's dystopia, okay? I don't want it to get to that point. The law still exists to make sure that brands are kept safe from turning into something that is not recognizable anymore. So let's just pray that the law still exists as a safeguard so that YouTube does not turn into a streaming service that is not creator first. It is still creator first to a point, but we've been seeing some annoyances that change the platform into something that we might still recognize, but right now is a completely different person. It still does what we want it to do. We're just using it as another body for another purpose. But anyway, that's just me talking. Let's continue.
And what I think they're going to do, this is my personal opinion based on everything we've seen over the last few months especially, is I think they're going to we're going to just make our own shows with our top shelf YouTube talent, and then they're going to be our streaming shows, and people are going to pay us. And, it's going to be really interesting because it's going to be kind of like Netflix all over again, where it's going to be very uncomfortable for these studios to work with YouTube if they also want to be a studio. And they tried it before. They tried with YouTube Red, and it didn't work.
I said to you earlier.
YouTube Red failed.
To take YouTubers and make them happen, as TV shows, and
now they're just going to step over creators and go right to Hollywood and make deals with them and screw creators. Even though, again, he built nothing, the creators did, and he's stepping over everybody. Go get himself, whatever.
YouTube too. Okay.
They're in a dispute with Disney, and all the channels got pulled.
Yeah.
They pulled it, not Disney.
That's what's interesting. That's probably why they're panicking, because they're like, wait a second, YouTube has that kind of power now? This is
Yes,
like Netflix
it's because it's their platform.
To Disney, prior to Netflix competing with them and also becoming a studio, it was just a platform for them to put their content on, and Netflix was just a middleman. They were peddling their subscriptions, whatever. And then as soon as they said, hey, we're going to make our own stuff, then it was like, oh, crap, we're pulling all of our stuff off your platform. They all did it.
Well, the reason YouTube's 1,000-pound gorilla or whatever in the room is because of creators, not because of their streaming. Yeah, they have some people that subscribe to streaming, yes, but for sure. But the reason they have the weight that they have, and the reason they're dominating TV and everything else, is because people are watching them because they don't want to watch Hollywood.
Yeah.
So this dumbass and his infinite...
Basically, it's just people who are integrating into Hollywood, thinking that they are away from Hollywood, except they're closer to Hollywood, and they're trying to fool people, and that they're gaslighting people for actually calling them out, thinking that people will actually fold. Here's the thing. We're not that stupid, Disney. Also, we're not that stupid, YouTube. We know what we're watching. We're also watching an extension of Hollywood, basically. As soon as these streaming sites start to actually come out as very much integrating original works, we would eventually know that they're actually made from Hollywood. Okay? Let's just be real. Disney, Netflix, the famous streaming sites from Amazon like Prime Video, they're not just independent shit anymore. They're also an extension of Hollywood. It is bad. Okay? So basically, the production, basically the script writing, all have standards that are actually related to American media. All have standards in relation to Hollywood. It is turning into a degraded experience. Okay? It's all turning into a degraded experience for streaming networks, for streaming services at all. Okay? Now, we do not want YouTube to turn into something like that. We do not want YouTube to turn into something like that, which is why we tuned out of YouTube as soon as YouTube Red services came up, and that we just refused, which is good. We refuse to watch YouTube Red because it's just not up on our it's just not up on our T. It's not our T. So basically, we made it successful as the viewership to make it absolutely clear that we're not interested in YouTube Red, because YouTube Red is going to turn YouTube into a streaming service instead. It's not a creator first thing, and we didn't like it. Thank God. YouTube Red failed. We need to make it absolutely clear that YouTube is creator first by itself. We're not going to have corporations pushed against us, even if YouTube is owned by Google, which is basically a corporation. But by itself, we should watch what we want to watch. We should not have entertainment shoved down in our mouths just because they got better tasting entertainment. But we're looking for a different type of entertainment every freaking time. We don't need that type of entertainment right now. They should give us a break, unless they treat viewership as laborers who would actually take their content anyway, and then they would make us think of different things to make absolutely sure that their content stays just right there just because we would love them. No, that's not how it works. We will not think for Disney. We will not think for Amazon. We will not think for these firms just because we love their shows. No. There are better things that the viewership can do. We are not your laborers. Seriously.
Wisdom is like, oh, let's go right to Hollywood and screw over the people that made YouTube. And if they go someplace else, they're going to beat you out because everybody's just going to follow the creators, you dumbass. And now they're going out to war with Disney over this, which isn't going to last long. Well, I don't know, because YouTube this guy thinks so much that they are so important and he is so important. What's that? He just thinks his shit doesn't stink. It's like that.
Yeah, this guy, because there have been multiple articles about, as Neil Mohan, who's the CEO now of YouTube, but there have been multiple articles about him in the last few months.
You know, I realize as I'm actually editing stuff continuously and rendering, I gotta do post-production of these types of reactions and actually publish shorts. I really gotta do those things to really just make the actual video relevant, to make sure that it gets the numbers that it should get.
Where he's basically like, oh, I'm hobnobbing with Hollywood. And I'm like, they're trying to treat this guy like he's a celebrity. And it's like, nobody even knew. I didn't even know what his name was until he started popping up.
Again, he did to build this up or anything. Nothing. But now he's out there like, pulling the plug on Disney, which I have to admit is kind of funny that he pulled the plug on Disney.
Yes.
That was pretty funny.
I think because this is what all the numbers are about, in my opinion. The last couple of months, all we've heard about is YouTube is the top streaming platform. That was case building. Yes, Disney, we are the top streaming platform. And if we drop your ass, you're out of luck. You lose.
It's because it's YouTube's platform by itself. They got the right to.
Shows on there and stuff. It was extra viewership. And, now they're doing this one.
You see, Disney is not creator first. They're always show oriented and not creator first. YouTube is creator first, and since Disney's trying to get their way to push their content as much as possible, I think YouTube's doing the right thing here. You're a corporation by yourself having a creator first platform. Do not allow another corporation to step in just because they got bigger money. So YouTube by itself is doing the right thing. And hopefully it helps them learn valuable lessons from this, because there is a lot to take in regards to this experience.
And of course, it's streaming. It's not related to the same thing as the regular YouTube, YouTube, whatever, YouTube.com or whatever. Yeah. It's not the same thing. But it's just interesting to me because so now Disney, who is known for being ridiculous when it comes to pricing and being like, well, they want to charge you more money and then limit what you can have, so you go to their streaming service. That's what they try to do on a few different companies, and it ended up being a problem. So they have Disney doing what they usually do, and now YouTube's coming in, and YouTube thinks this guy thinks he's bigger, he's too big for his britches, and he's in there and he's thinking well, I'm YouTube. I didn't do jack shit, but I'm YouTube, and he's in there, and two things are true at once. So now we got YouTube, the YouTube dumbass, and the Disney dumbasses fighting each other.
Yeah, so let's talk about this before you do any further. We're into it pretty far. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
I have changed the plus/minus club URL. It's now more.clownfishtv.com. It's more.clownfishtv.com. We have a Halloween episode up. You can go out and check that out at
Halloween in the 1980s.
If you'd like to support us off of this crazy-ass platform, because I don't know what's going to happen, because we're not big enough for YouTube to care, but it would be greatly appreciated. So this is coming from, The Hollywood Reporter. They said that Disney Entertainment co-chairs Dana Walden and Alan Bergman and ESPN chief Jimmy Pitaro sent out a note to staff on Friday, thanking them for the work and continued focus while admonishing YouTube and its parent company, Google, for the dispute. Now, listen to this. This is crazy. You're telling me about this before we started. They really kicked Disney in the balls all the way around. They said, as you are no doubt aware, last night, YouTube TV pulled our channels from their service prior to the midnight expiration of our deal. So it's before midnight. All right, the three executives wrote, in doing so, they not only cut off access to our live programming, but also deleted
all previously recorded shows.
Their subscribers.
Oh my God!
YouTube doesn't care. He thinks that YouTube isn't that big right now.
No, but he's going for the jugular. They said their actions make clear how little regard they have for their customers and are consistent with an attitude which has been prevalent throughout our negotiations. YouTube and Google are not interested in achieving a fair deal with us. Instead, they want to use their power and extraordinary resources to eliminate competition and devalue the very content that helped them build their service.
Yeah, you're right. They want to devalue the very content that helped them build their service, and it wasn't Disney. You know what? I think it's funny. It's like, their attitude throughout the negotiations, they could have said how little regard they have for their customers and their people who built the damn company up. They don't care. So why should they treat you any better, Disney, than they're treating their creators, who are the real reason why YouTube is where it is?
Exactly.
So I'm telling you what this is. This is a declaration of war. This is YouTube saying, you work for me now, bitch.
YouTube TV says that it will give subscribers a $20 monthly credit if the dispute drags on. Dude. So, okay, interestingly enough,
I'll roll this in here too. Interestingly enough, while this is all going on, we had this story come out too. So if you remember back a little while ago, we talked about how there was a lawsuit. Disney was suing YouTube about them poaching Justin Connolly from Disney because he'd been there for like 20 years and he was kind of heading up some of their stuff that would have been normally part of this negotiations over ESPN and stuff. And they brought him over.
I don't know exactly what this story is about ESPN on the ESPN side of things, so forgive me if my context is not there yet. But anyway, back to it.
To YouTube to try to go after sports.
Yes.
And then Disney sued and said it was breach of contract, which is kind of weird because they almost act like they owned the guy. It was really kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And apparently it's been settled. There are no details released about what the settlement entails, but it has been settled. There's some things that have to happen within 45 days, and maybe we'll hear more about what the settlement was. But that's going on right now too. So Disney, and YouTube were embattled there, and now Disney was asking for more, but more. Could they give them less, but make them pay more? And YouTube just went and didn't even wait for the timeline. They just shut it off. And it's this guy, and I mean, while part of me is very entertained that they just shut Disney off on Disney, which because
Yeah.
Disney's used to being the one that do it to you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It is very entertaining. This guy is also a complete dickwad, and I'm sorry, but you are. And he's overly arrogant, and he's going to blow all of YouTube up with his arrogance.
Yeah, I think YouTube, if they lose their creators that build the platform, it looks to me like what they're going to do is they're going to try to.
It's already bad enough that the creators, all creators of YouTube are starting to get annoyed of YouTube, okay?
And again, Disney tried this too. Disney tried this 10 years ago with Maker Studios. We know, we were there. We saw it go down in real time from inside. And they bought Maker Studios, and they were going to take a bunch of YouTubers and turn them into TV stars. And it didn't work.
Yeah.
And in fact,
We all know where that went. When the buyouts happened on different YouTubers, Disney tried to make them big. They did not go big. Do you make them TV personalities? They did not become TV personalities. They did become TV personalities, but they struggled to stay relevant. So, yeah.
yeah, it didn't work. I remember they were trying to do cross promotion with like Markiplier and stuff. Then we had the Adpocalypse because they didn't realize how dicey some of the content was, especially with PewDiePie. And then YouTube tried doing the same thing with YouTube Red. They were going to turn Rhett and Link into stars, and all these other personalities on their platform. And it didn't fly. The only thing that came out of it had any lasting power, staying power, was Cobra Kai. They actually, I don't think people remember, but YouTube,
Cobra Kai.
like, nobody else would take it. And then when it was a hit, it wasn't a big enough hit for YouTube to keep doing it, but it jumped over to Netflix, and then it was there for the rest of the run.
Exactly. YouTube really made a good move when it comes to making sure the Cobra Kai kept going until YouTube could not, and then it moved to Netflix. That was okay. To me, that was actually okay. It just stayed in YouTube for a big chunk of it, and then it went to Netflix. It's not a bad way to go. It should have at least stayed in one platform, but at least Cobra Kai kept going when it was transferred to Netflix, when Netflix had the production. Hopefully they went without a bad bang. I never really searched if Cobra Kai had ever been massively successful. You know what? Let me just check. I need to check by myself, because as a Cobra Kai show. So I asked, yes, the Cobra Kai has been very successful, especially after it moved from YouTube Red / YouTube Premium, to Netflix. Here are some of the key reasons and evidence. It originally premiered on YouTube and then YouTube Premium in 2018. Netflix acquired the streaming rights in June 2020, and season 1 and 2 arrived in Netflix in late August. After the move to Netflix, demand for the show skyrocketed. Yes, the data from Parrots says the show's demand has been up by 110% after it landed on Netflix. It became a major hit because Cobra Kai was actually something to watch. Absolutely something to watch, which is great. The move to Netflix was a good thing because it was really a show that is supposed to be streamed and is supposed to be watched. That's how it works. The series itself is not a creator first series because it really is a show to begin with. And at the same time, it had very good viewership on YouTube Red anyway. So when Netflix bought out Cobra Kai went to the sky, and the move actually helped. So YouTube Premium, the show had a solid start, but YouTube's subscriber base for premium original content was much smaller than Netflix's. The Netflix move exposed it to a huge, broader audience. Move coincided with the timing of the global pandemic when many people were streaming more. So yes, that's pretty much how there was a viewership boom, because most people are still home at this time. There are caveats, however. Success is relative. For example, season 6 audience score on review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes was slightly lower than previous seasons, but those still strong. Hiccups. Show's production origins on YouTube meant its early budget and exposure were more limited. Netflix helped scale up. Critics and fans sometimes note budget/visual production critiques. In short, yes, Cobra Kai did succeed, arguably thrived after moving to Netflix, Move substantially expanded its audience, and elevated it from moderately successful YouTube premiere show to major streaming hit globally. This is considered that was actually a good move to make, because Cobra Kai from the beginning was a streaming show, and it was a show that's actually looked forward to, but because of the small budget that Cobra Kai had, it needed to grow itself more because the plot was advancing and people were actually loving the plot as it went. So they were looking for buyers. So it is a good move that Netflix took them because Netflix is pro streaming shows. So it worked. Okay? Now here is where it gets interesting when it comes to YouTube's place in this. Okay? Considering that YouTube Red has not been working as planned, considering that they lost Cobra Kai, the rights to Cobra Kai, this is at least a good thing in the right direction. That they're using and they're making use of creators and past creators to make YouTube a relevant platform, because it is a relevant platform. It is always a creator-first platform for broadcasting. That's how YouTube works. From the beginning, it's always a video sharing, video platform. And right now, it's a creator should be and maintaining as a creator-first platform. That's how YouTube should work, and it should maintain that way.
But and they're probably looking at that now, like, what did we do? We gave up Cobra Kai. We could have had 20 different Cobra Kais, you know?
I don't know, but the thing is, Disney and YouTube have been fighting for a while now about different things. So this is just like the icing on the cake at this point.
Yeah, last time wasn't it Disney threatening to pull from them or whatever? Like
and then they were not able to do it because they thought they had YouTube by the balls, except YouTube did it themselves because they had enough of Disney. Oh, Cersei, right, Disney? The rug pull is so clean. Oh yes.
Going back for, like, look, this is nothing new. The whole carriage thing.
I love the rug pull, bro.
Whether it's Disney or Paramount.
Okay, this is why I do not watch streaming services, because let's just be real. Even if streaming services for TV can provide you entertainment, they're not entirely interactive, which is why I don't watch Netflix, why I do not watch Disney Plus, why I do not watch Prime Video. Maybe for reactions, sure. But I'm not the type to actually react. That's early. Okay, I will be back. Duty calls. Okay, where were we? All right, I've lost my train of thought. I really just lost my train of thought. Sorry, I had to actually make sure that the trash is well taken care of first before we proceed. And we can proceed, thank God. All right, we're back in it now.
Or Nickelodeon, whatever. They want more money. Comcast, they want more money. We all do. Sure, we all do. But they think Disney is used to being in the bargaining position, though. They're like, well, it'd be a real shame if you don't have Disney Channel, ABC, ESPN. They always use ESPN. That's the thing. They always use ESPN as the cudgel to bully the cable providers and bully the streaming providers into paying them what they want. And now YouTube, now that they poach one of their ESPN guys, might be like, well, we'll just go after the sports directly. We don't even... You know.
Well, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they didn't even like go clear to the timeline for them. Like, you know, usually it would be up to Disney to, you know, to who's gonna blink first. It would normally be up to Disney to pull, because like, well, you didn't meet my timeline, so I'm pulling. But in a power play, YouTube just turned around, and did it,
right,
yanked it.
Yeah, before midnight.
And it is gonna mess up. You know, according to them, it's gonna mess up their subscribers. They had stuff saved, they had playlists or whatever. It's gonna undo all that. Don't know if it's true or not, because I don't use YouTube to watch Disney. But that's interesting, because people are going to be pissed, and YouTube's trying to spin it that it's Disney's fault, and Disney's trying to spin it that it's YouTube's fault, but it sounds like YouTube, you know, pulling it was YouTube.
It's YouTube setting the tone. This is what YouTube said. They said they'll give subscribers a $20 monthly credit if the dispute drags on.
But they didn't specify how long that is.
No. They said last week Disney used the threat of a blackout on YouTube as a negotiating tactic to force deal terms that would raise prices on our customers. They're now following through on that threat, suspending their content on YouTube TV. But Disney says that they
says YouTube pulled it.
This decision directly harms our subscribers while benefiting their own live TV products, including Hulu plus live TV and Fubo. So I can see both sides there, because Disney, again, what they have going for them is ESPN, but that's not going to last forever.
Well, even Fubo plus Fubo, if you remember that whole ordeal.
It's all going to fall apart once ESPN chooses a side. And
Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And, was it Fox? I forget who else.
I don't know.
And they were going to buy up all the rights to sports. So if you wanted to use sports, you had to go through them. Yeah. And then Fubo sued because they're like, well, because Disney was doing to them what they did to YouTube, which is they wanted just specific sports channels. And Disney's like, well, no, you're going to pay a lot of money. You're going to take all these extra bloated channels that we want to up our subscriptions on, but we don't. But no one in your channel is going to watch. watch. No one's going to watch it on your service. And they were trying to do that to them, so they sued, and then they settled by Disney basically partnered up with Fubo and bought Fubo out and is out there using it now as another sports channel that they get to control.
All right.
Yeah, it's basically everybody's kind of fighting over scraps.
If you're actually hearing just truck horns, it's actually the garbage truck. That's what I was actually making sure to actually arrange, because they come up twice every Saturday. Come up on Twice collection every Saturday, so yeah. Anyway, back to it.
Obviously,
I want to get popcorn and let them fight it out.
Yeah, let them fight. I mean, look, everything is pivoting to streaming. At this point, though, YouTube and Disney are competitors.
Well, what makes me mad?
They're competitors.
But the thing is, YouTube and Disney are not the same thing, and that's what's weird, because what this idiot at YouTube does not fundamentally understand is the fact that we've said this before. People went to YouTube because they didn't want Disney. People went to YouTube because they didn't want Hollywood. That's why YouTube was big, because people wanted them and not, you know, the streaming services and Hollywood shit. That's why they went to YouTube. They want authenticity and all this other stuff. And now this idiot is like, well, we're going to just go in all in Hollywood and screw the creators over and be another streaming service and make movies and crap. And I'm like, that's great. So you're just like every other place that people hated, which is why they went to you in the first place.
The YouTube dystopia would be that of, I actually said earlier, one day there might be a time that we might not even be informed at all if the dystopia escalates so suddenly. We would not be able to find ourselves accessing YouTube Studio anymore as creators, and that we would be announced that we as creators are being phased out, everything related to your content will be deleted, and basically, they're giving us the middle finger. As soon as there is a real decision for a creator-first platform to become exclusively a streaming service just because some dipshit decided to chase after Hollywood. Basically, even if YouTube is trying to be independent by itself and trying to be big, trying to get away from what streaming services are, if YouTube becomes an exclusive streaming service by itself as well, I would lose my mind for this. It is just so bad how this is becoming. If what path we're treading on is the same path we're treading on for a while, it's a good thing Susan Wojcicki had not actually realized that particular thing about YouTube, okay? But it's her policies, not her life. It's just really just hard to imagine YouTube becoming entirely exclusive. Then it would not be called YouTube. There's a reason it's called YouTube, okay? It's supposed to be about you, the creator. If it turns into something entirely different, we would be first getting the signs that there would be proposed name changes, and we would know about it because we are benefiting from the uses of the platform, and that we would eventually be notified that there may be a time that creators might be given some value. We would be transferred to probably another sub-platform related to this potential live streaming platform, and that YouTube would eventually change its name. And then this new platform we would be transferring to as the sub-platform would be Creator First. And then that would be named YouTube, while YouTube would be named something else. It might become this way if YouTube would turn dystopian and not Creator First, and that it would leave all of the work for Creator First to their sub-platform, where it will be Creator First. You know, here's hoping that when we do get transferred to the sub-unit, because let's just be real, people are going to be absolutely more than angry at YouTube if they just suddenly cut off creators, behead them just like that. It would just be bad. It would absolutely be bad to the point that there would be class action lawsuits made against this entire platform. So I believe if YouTube is actually going to be wise and not lead themselves into a dystopian path, they would have to make sure that they make a sub-platform for creators first. It would not be like the YouTube of the days before, but it would at least still be there. It would stay in relevance. The data would still be there. It would all be secure for all creators. And viewers who would like to watch on that platform can watch there. Basically, if YouTube itself is going to change into an entire streaming service with a subunit for creators platform, or as a creators and platform for independent viewing, which by itself will be a good thing. However, it would be an ugly chapter for the actual platform. YouTube should never change into an exclusive streaming platform, period. But hopefully, the best scenario we have is that all creators are going to be transferred into a sub-unit of YouTube. And hopefully, YouTube does not change its name. Hopefully, YouTube does not change its name, because if it does change its name and we would be transferred out of it, it would not go well. But it is a better scenario than absolutely beheading the entire platform and its creators with it. It is better than that. We do not want to see a platform destroyed in all the worst ways. But if we want to be creators still on this platform, they need to still guarantee us a place. They need to still guarantee us a place with all our data intact. With all our data intact. Otherwise, we will be migrating to another platform entirely. There's no other choice. Hopefully, the dystopian age does not come too soon, because at this point, I am afraid at what YouTube is going to be if they decide to take the Hollywood route and be a streaming service. It is volatile, guys. It is very volatile right now. Okay? Do you understand where I'm coming from with this? It's very volatile.
If I were an investor in YouTube, I would be asking some questions, because this completely spits in the face of what YouTube was. And is this going to make them another streaming service? And right now, streaming services are all, they're highlighting each other anyway.
Yeah.
If you lose all your creators and you treat them like shit and keep taking, more money than you should, and etc., as it seems, the creators are going to leave. They're going to go other places, and then there's nothing separating you from another streaming service, which means that you're going to get your head chopped off too. And why you have better TV viewership than Netflix is people are watching like us on their TVs. I'm not saying that we're that important, but you need channels like ours on their television, and they're not watching the streaming stuff. I don't think you have that many streaming people. You're not big as far as a streaming service. You're big because of YouTube being what YouTube has been established to be. And this is colossally stupid. So normally I defend you, but at this point, I don't know who I'm rooting for. At this point, you can just poke each other in the ass. I don't care.
Whoa, okay. Get the reach around. Make him reach around.
Wrestle, reach you up and let you wrestle it out. Him and Iger, let's go.
All right.
Televise it.
There you go, and then they can charge for that. They can both charge. We gotta wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Clownfish TV does well. They really done well when it comes to their presentation. Consider that there are some people who hate them, but at the same time they make absolute sense. It changes how a platform actually goes, bro. I mean, seriously, how in the literal hell do you actually just? I cannot react to everything entirely. I just want to actually do some stuff. Okay, I want to come out with what I've learned from this. Okay. And I just want to be wise with it. Let's just be real. I like it when we're at a time in which things were simpler, but if it's actually not becoming simple anymore and it actually gets to the point that we would have to eventually start thinking about the future of our content creation, it comes to the point that I should actually look for alternatives to video sharing sites like YouTube, to keep where my VODs are, to keep where my most notable videos are, to keep where my unlisted videos are, but playlist accessible. It's already bad enough that YouTube is turning into streaming. Well, YouTube Red only worked up to a point, but when YouTube Red started to fail and other streaming services just ate up again the streaming market, of course, YouTube had to go back to its roots. And it's becoming a creator-first thing. But here we are finding ourselves at a point in which a CEO is beginning to think we should actually compete against the streaming services. That is not what the platform is about. Get your head in the game, get your ass in gear, and stop thinking about branching out when you know what a platform you're in charge of is supposed to do and has a purpose to do, instead of changing it to something that it's not. This is what I don't like about things. This is what I don't like about corporations changing products like this. YouTube is itself a product, but it is a very big product by itself that should be how it is. However, it keeps changing its parameters to suit its atmosphere, to suit the atmosphere of the internet, to suit the category it's trying to compete against. And YouTube is just doing it wrong. It is absolutely doing everything wrong. Okay? That is why I absolutely hate the fact that even if YouTube is pulling out some streaming sites' content, which is actually a good plus for YouTube, it comes with the context of YouTube wanting to compete as a streaming service. Dude, you should not frame it as competing as a streaming service if it is never a streaming service from the beginning. Seriously, though. The CEO has to get his head in the game, okay? YouTube CEO. Neil Mohan himself, I'm talking to you, Mr. Mohan. Get your head in the game. I know that you understand that YouTube is creator first. But please, Mr. Mohan, I am begging you, as one of your creators, even if I am a small fry, please, and please, do not say you are competing against streaming services with YouTube as a streaming service. Stop telling others that you are a streaming service when from the beginning, the platform is a creator-first broadcasting platform. Why are you changing it into something that it is not, Mr. Mohan? Why are you changing it into something that it is not? Maybe probably because you're looking for something new when it comes to the broadcasting platform? Maybe? But of course, you wouldn't know too much, would you? You would need others to have to tell you. Of course, I couldn't actually tell you. I'm not in your range of conversation. I'm not in your range of a circle. I'm not in your circles at all. We're just one of the small fries who just need to actually make it known to you that this issue exists and that YouTube's identity changes way too much for us to actually adapt to it. We as creators should have a room, and it's understandable because the platform we're using is a creator-first platform. It's always been a creator-first platform. So why change it into a streaming service when it's not supposed to be a streaming service in general? If you're only doing that because you're only chasing Hollywood standards, that's an absolute no. Mr. Mohan, I hope you see this video, or I hope you see other videos that are saying the same message as this, because even if you push away Disney, Amazon, other brands that are actually that have their own streaming services, even if you push them out of your platform, let me just make it real to you, Mr. Mohan. YouTube is not an exclusive streaming platform, even if you want to make it one. It was never designed that way the first time. For the love of God, for the sanity of the people who are suffering advertisement after advertisement after advertisement after advertisement, please do not change it into something we cannot recognize anymore. We beg you.